She will not invite. So we are going to start the class. And simply, the first session will be the question session, where I will put some questions and you need to answer. Well, so starting with Preeti, you. What is meaning of aesthetic movement? Even last day I asked you.
Yes.
I know. Come on. Aesthetic movement.
It is related to art or art shape.
What does that mean? Okay.
Our work or text is completed in itself.
Okay. It's complete in itself. Very good. Tell about its background. Who started?
Alexander von Garten in his book Aesthetica.
Okay, that's nice one. It started with a book Aesthetica by Alexander von Garten from Germany, and it continued with Immanuel Kant, reached France. That's the main headquarter of this movement under Charles Baudelaire, and in America, Edgar Allan Poe, and in England, Walter Pater, not Painter. Pater. Okay. Danish, your question. What was main motto of beat writers?
To oppose classical works and support fettered self-realization and self-expression.
Okay, that's nice one. It's not fettered, it's unfettered. That's good. A kind of freedom. Okay, a kind of freedom of realization and freedom of expression. That had been the main motto behind this movement, where some writers like Ellen Ginsberg were involved, and they were trying to make the world know that the ideas of the old days are now no more, they are obsolete, they are needless, and there's a need of changing them and going away from the things that had been done already. So there's a need of self-realization, self-expression. That's a nice one, good one. Pradeep, your time. Whose book could Wimsatt and Beardsley oppose when they gave us the affective fallacy as a term? Whose book could they oppose when they gave us the moment that was affective fallacy as a literary device? Whose book? Come on.
The principle of literary criticism, I. Richards की थी.
That's very nice. I. Richards' book, that was the principle of literary criticism, and this book was opposed by Wimsatt and Beardsley, especially for the emotional effect of text on reader. Well, so Akanksha, tell me, what's the meaning of ambiguity as a literary device?
Ambiguity, overreading,
Yeah.
multiple meaning,
Mm-hmm.
and it is related to
Come on.
emphasis.
Okay.
Portmanteau.
Portmanteau. In fact, my question is related to its meaning. Definitely these words like
Not
resignation, okay, and multiple meaning, or yes, that should have been the answer, because overreading or multiple meaning or plurisignation, they are just synonyms for this one. They are not going to tell us the meaning. So meaning of ambiguity is not clear meaning. Means the word has more than one meaning. Literary device where writer tries to display his almost craftsmanship, playing on words with more than one meaning of one word. That is what should have been told by you. Okay, that's a good one. Well, Nirja, tell us what has been the main theme of black aesthetic?
Black aesthetic.
Yeah.
Mythical revival.
Or which kind of myths?
Social, political.
Whose myth? That is necessary. Whose myth was revived?
Against African and Negro writer, there has given importance of white writer.
Yeah. Which term was used for white writers? Because there were two categories, okay? One category that related to white writers and one category related to black
Black
writers.
movement art.
No, I'm talking about the writers group, the word, the phrase that was given to show the grandeur of the white writers. Which was that word? Tell us.
Pride.
No. I'm talking about the phrase that was used to show that these white writers are able to write better, are able to express better. So which phrase was used? Okay, BL, you tell. Tell the phrase in black aesthetic. Definitely we know in black aesthetic it was the presentation of the myths of the Negroes, African and American Negroes, and they were trying to show their pride, their solidity, their confidence in their life. But now it was needed that they should beat the white writers who suppose themselves
Sir,
to
low
be
arts होगा low
High
arts
arts.
low arts black वालों के लिए
So my question was about white, not black. Okay, that's
अगला
all.
तो
So white people and their works were considered to be high art. This was the phrase that was used for the white writers. And this black aesthetic, just in one word understand, this black aesthetic was against this high art idea. Okay? Good morning, dear. So now we'll move to you, Pawan dear. Tell us about alliteration. What is alliteration? Come on, tell us. What is alliteration? Okay, Pradeep.
It is a repetition of vowels are sounds are related.
That's very nice. Alliteration is repetition of sounds or letters. When it repeats sound, it's called assonance. When it repeats letters, it's called consonants. Consonants letters were related to consonants in English. That's a good one. That's good, Ajit. Okay, Pooja, your question is here. What is ballad? Ballad. Come on. Pooja, what is ballad? Okay, Danish. Come
Which
on.
type of song or story?
Okay, it's a kind of short poem or sometimes long poem as well that narrates a popular story in a stanza form that was especially introduced by Sir Patrick Spence with a tetrameter trimeter alternative metric pattern. That's a nice one. Now we move to Shuklari. Your question. What is atmosphere? What is atmosphere?
Atmosphere is related a place, situation.
Sorry? Once more, come on. What is atmosphere? Yes, yes, you can answer. Okay, Supriya, you answer. What's atmosphere?
Atmosphere means which is related to our around us.
Around us. I'm not teaching you. I'm not teaching you geography. I'm talking about literature here, not geography. Okay.
Emotional tone, which are related to what take place in literature.
Okay, thank you. That's very nice. Even last day, I put the same question. It's kind of emotional tone that. That's what. So should have been hinted by some tones, some music. Means sometimes like when we go to watch Sole, when we go to watch any movie Sole. So there we will find before entry of Gabbar, there's kind of special music. That music is atmosphere. Means it makes the audience to know about something pleasant or unpleasant to happen. Means before that thing happens, we come to know that is what atmosphere. So definitely in simple word we say that atmosphere is emotional tone in literature. But what is meaning of that emotional tone? This tone makes us to know about something to take place, some happenings that are going to happen in future. That is told or in fact hinted by these type of tones. Okay, Nirja.
ये देखा गया उसमें जैसे जब नौटंकी होती है सब ना जो कुछ खेला जाता है तो पहले उसको बता देते हैं कि what plays master मतलब इसके बाद क्या खेलेंगे ये हम बता देते हैं इसके बाद वो
No, not that. Especially it's related to music. So it's music that tells us about something. Okay, dear, I can get. Please don't answer it geographically. I'm not teaching geography, you all. I'm teaching you English literature, so better to answer it according to English literature. Okay. So now we'll move to the next one. What is Nirja? What is archaism?
Archaism kind of obsolete, which is out of use.
Okay.
And when the old pattern use in new pattern,
Yeah.
that is called archaism.
That's very nice. In fact, archaism means a kind of, in simple word, a kind of revival of old words. In simple way, you can understand. Archaism is a doctrine, is a philosophy, is a pattern, is a pattern where we can find that the writer is trying to use the words from old or middle. Especially, we give example of Edmund Spenser, who tried to use the diction that were used by Geoffrey Chaucer, and later on, it has been revived. So, in a easy language, we can say.
First time
Archaism.
Geoffrey Chaucer used archaism and Spencer revised it.
No, not so. In fact, Geoffrey Chaucer started English poetry. So he was not to use any other sources because he was the first one to start. But after his effort, after his tries, many scholars followed him and they tried to use some old word, the words that were not in their used in their society, like even John Milton could do it in Paradise Lost, and even John Keats could do in his Hyperion. So these had been a kind of standard. If we are going to use some old word from our middle period or ancient, that shows how much we have read or how much we have studied. This is how the things happen to us. So that is main point. We find something that was old and almost forgotten or obsolete out of use, but as a good writer, started using them, those words in new literature, and that's what the doctrine finds its name, that's called archaism. Dear. So now, Mamta, it's your question. What is special feature about anti-hero? Yeah. Tell us about anti-hero.
I think those are the stories, but not the complete, and it is the center of the play.
Yeah. Center of the play. And Shuklari, tell us what is anti-hero?
So anti-hero is not a villain.
Not a villain.
Villain.
Villain. Thank you.
Anti-hero work like as a side hero.
Works like a side hero. Sure. Preeti, tell us about anti-hero.
It is a center of play. He is
morning, dear.
pretty clannish and dishonest person.
That's very nice. In fact,
It is
anti-hero
generally used in
means
because-
opposite hero. Okay. Hero is moral. Hero, one who is ready to face all difficulties. Okay. Who stands for goodness, who stands for honesty, who stands for humanity. But anti-hero is opposite. He is
Opposite means-
almost inhuman. He is almost inhuman, immoral. He is never to face problems. He creates problem and then runs away. Okay. This is what his tendencies are there.
We can't say anti-hero as a villain.
Yeah, he is not villain in fact. Okay. Sometimes such things happen, and then the man, since he or she may be afraid of being recognized or being caught, being punished, so avoid that punishment. They run away from the place.
They have both qualities, but not in exact way. जैसे ना तो पूरा विलन ही होता है, ना तो हीरो ही होता है.
Yeah,
जैसे
that's-
विलन होगा तो वो पूरा निभाएगा, मर जाएगा लेकिन हटेगा नहीं. ये
Sure,
बात
sure,
है.
sure. That's good one. So that is what about anti-hero is, especially he is knave, he is a clownish, he is dishonest, he is not man to face problems, he is a man to create problem, but not thoroughly evil. Okay? Not thoroughly evil. Well, so Priya will tell us about illusion. Come on, dear. Illusion. You cannot be silent. Come on. Good morning, Deepa. Come on.
सर हम बताएंगे सर.
Okay, Meera, tell us. Illusion. That's very nice. What is meaning of passing remark? So in fact, in literature, we are using a word passing remark for allusion. How will you define it? Pradeep, explain.
Passing remarks is a writer use example for a line and sentence, but it is not exemplified.
Okay.
There.
Not clarified, in
Clarify.
fact. Okay,
देता है लेकिन उसको clarify नहीं करता.
that's good. Good morning, dear.
Sir, it is
Yes.
comment on someone. Yes, sir, it is comment on someone.
You can say, but not in the way to harm. Okay, it can be kind of indirect presentation, something that's familiar, but it has a kind of reference from the other works, like we have read in the Wasteland, related a statement that was found in Antony and Cleopatra, especially referring to Cleopatra, and that has been used here also. So kind of indirect addression, indirect reference, okay, and passing remark. where writer tries to not to give us a detailed explanation related to those lines or words, but to take some lines, take some example from the text, mixes something from his own self, and then moves away. Okay, so this personal effort of the writer is going to be a part of allusion. So allusion is definitely a passing remark, but the meaning of passing remark is without explanation or without detail of that particular work or particular word or particular dialogue, the writer just pass away. Okay, passes by. Now we will move to the next one, and that's going to be, yeah, that's good one. Pondier, tell us about alienation effect. What is alienation effect? Yeah, what is alienation effect? Okay, Beer, tell us, what is alienation effect? Yeah, you need to answer us. Asta?
Astha?
Oh no. Akanksha.
Distancing.
You know, many times I addressed Astha with your name like Akanksha, and today I addressed you, Asta. Okay, so Akanksha, continue.
Distancing effect. Distancing effect.
What does that mean? Definitely, once again, distancing effect or defamiliarization or estrangement, they are just synonyms. Tell the meaning of this. What is alienation effect? They are just one word.
Related to loneliness.
Really? Really? Alienation effect. See, if I ask you what is...
चीज को familiar बना देना.
Okay, that's good one. In fact, once again from Germany, we find it. Okay, that's good one, Deepa. From Germany, we find this term, and Bertolt Brecht is there as a dramatist. The term was applied to drama. There, the dramatist tried to make audience to feel something strange. The things that they were familiar were presented on a stage in such a way that looked unfamiliar. This effort of the writer making familiar thing unfamiliar or strange was called alienation effect. That's a good one. So now, Meera, we come to you. What is exemplum? What is exemplum? Come on. Yeah, you can tell. Come on here. Come on here. Okay, so Shuklari, tell us what is exemplum? No, Raj. Shuklari, come on.
Example is a
Exemplum. Well, so Mamta, tell me, what is exemplum?
Example means religious sermons.
That's good.
And,
Very nice, very nice. Go on, it can be expressed. Very nice.
I represent to religious sermons and
Okay, I can get it. She wants to tell us that it is kind of religious teaching, or we can say preaching. It's a kind of sermon that was used by the priest or clergyman to make people understand the meaning of this life The end of such work was always moralistic, to make or show faith in God and show faith in Christianity. That had been main motto. That's nice. Danish, your question. Give the term for the writing that was specially related to the life of saints. Hagio. Okay, that's nice one. Hagiography. That's the term that we use for hagio. Okay, that's the term we use for the life of saints written by someone else. Okay, because it's part of biography. Regularly, a kind of literary work that gives us day by day record. Tell, what do we give the word for that literary work that gives us day by day record?
Autobiographies.
Sure.
Day by day record.
Yeah, yeah.
Diaries.
That's right one. Diary or journal. There are the two words that we use for day by day record of the Ratha. That's nice one, Deepa. Well, and now we move to the last question of the day, and this goes to Nirja. Which is the possibly the first book in English as an autobiography? Which is the first book in English as an autobiography?
Wrote out slides.
Sure. Is it in English?
Marjorie came.
Yeah, that's good one. The book of Marjorie Kemp. That was written by Marjorie Kemp. Well, so now we move to the next. And the term I will teach you today is going to be blank words. Simply you can understand what does it mean. Blank means something that finds kind of absence. And verse, in old terms, if we talk about verse, verse is something that follows metrical or syllabic pattern. Okay? Well, if we are talking about verse, okay, so it's something that follows metric or syllabic pattern. That's what verse is. But here, we are not talking about only verse. What we find, it's going to be blank verse. Something that lacks. Now we will try to understand what does it mean. Blank means lacking. Or in other words, listeners can say want of something. Okay? Or in more easier word, we can say it's without something. Easier word, without something. So very common question comes here. What without? Means we are talking about without something. Poetry is written, verse is written without something. So there are the two things that we are talking about, and those two things are metric or syllabic pattern. But now we need to understand, does a blank verse miss metric or syllabic pattern? No. In fact, this blank verse doesn't miss syllabic or metric pattern. Instead, it follows very strictly this syllabic and metric pattern. Because it is mandatory to use in blank verse iambic pentameter lines. It is compulsory to use iambic pentameter line. Now, what is that? If we see the two words that we have used here, sure, Eddie, soon we are going to do that. The first thing is here, like iambic. What is iambic? It tells about the movement of syllable in a line. It tells about movement of syllables in a line. You know syllable? What does that mean, Pradeep?
It is a breaking of sounds.
That's very nice. It's the sound that we produce. It's a kind of pronunciation. It's kind of breaking of a word to produce a particular sound. Okay, that's good one. I'll sing. Now, when we talk about iambic, definitely it is a movement of syllables. But what kind of movement? That's a simple question. So if we call that there is a movement of syllable in iambic, we must know that the syllables can be categorized as weak and strong. So weak and strong. What that means? If we say that the syllable is strong, that means the pronunciation is done with a stress. Okay? So we give another word like stressed. If we say that the syllable is weak, it means the pronunciation is done with unstressed. These are two other words that we can use. Sometimes, technically, the strong is called like long and weak is called like short. Short syllable, long syllable. Overall, these three words we use to tell the syllabic combinations. Now, if we come to iambic, I think I have explained it earlier as well. If we come to iambic, we find that iambic is a kind of syllabic pattern that makes it's a 1 meter. It's a 1 meter with 2 syllables. Okay? Whenever we say that it is iambic and we have to make meter, so in iambic we need at least 2 syllables. 2 syllable and 1 iambic meter is good. But we have to understand some other things as well. Okay? 2 syllables. We have to understand 2 other things means these syllables, the 2 syllables and 1 meter. Got it? This is kind of measurement of lines. But how to put these syllables? How to put these syllables is the word iambic telling us. Definitely. Yes. This word iambic is telling how a syllable is put in a line. The second, because we find 2 kinds of syllable, weak or strong. Okay? So whether weak is coming first, followed by strong, or strong is coming first and followed by weak, or the 2 weak followed by a strong, or a strong followed by 2 weak. They are the metric pattern. I will explain you later. So see, in iambic what we find, the 2 syllables are used to make 1 meter, and this goes like weak followed by strong. Means 2 syllables are there. 1 syllable is weak, the next syllable is strong. 1 weak and 1 strong syllable makes 1 meter. Okay?
यानी इसके लिए एक स्ट्रेस और अनस्ट्रेस होना चाहिए, पहले अनस्ट्रेस उसके बाद स्ट्रेस.
That's what we are telling. Short, long, unstressed, stress,
वही
weak,
आयम
strong.
बोलना और सारे में तो अलग है.
Yeah, different. They are different meters, so you cannot be fixed that this is going to be the only pattern. Okay, we have different patterns. So just see what we are doing here. Now we could understand what will be the syllabic pattern. This is syllabic pattern. Weak followed by strong, weak followed by strong, weak followed by strong. This is what we will do everywhere if it is going to be iambic. Okay, so this is syllabic pattern. And now two syllables are making 1 meter. So what is pentameter? This is just number of meters. Yeah. This metric pattern is to tell us number of meter, nothing else. How many time that syllabic pattern is repeated? How many times that syllabic pattern is repeated? If it is going to be 1 time, if it is going to be 2 times, it's going to be 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, 7 times, 8 times, all these. Whatever times, this is the function of metric pattern. So metric pattern tells repetition of syllabic pattern or frequency of syllabic pattern. Okay. What is function of meter? Meter's function is to tell the frequency of syllabic pattern. You know, frequency means repetition. Okay. So how many times this pattern has been used? That's the very function of metric pattern. And here is a pentameter. Penta stands for 5. It means metric pattern and syllabic pattern both are followed here. In blank words, we are following both. If we are not using pentameter, that cannot be blank verse. If we are not using iambic, it cannot be blank verse. Means, though we call it that blank verse is without something, but it is following, yet it is following some rules. Then what is it missing? The question. If it is following metric pattern, if it is following syllabic pattern, so what is it missing? Actually, it is missing rhyming. It is unrhymed. Just one thing that makes it different. Blank versus unrhymed. This is the point that you have to remember. It is unrhymed. So if we have to define what is blank verse, that's good one, Deepa.
Unrhymed.
That's very nice. If somebody asks you what is blank verse, you will simply say it's an unrhymed combination of iambic pentameter. Okay? Unrhymed. So this is the only difference between heroic couplet and blank verse. Remember. The next word you must remember because that's very close to blank verse. Heroic couplet. Who introduced heroic couplet? That's very nice. Geoffrey Chaucer, in his work, The Legend of Good Women, he introduced us a special kind of stanza that's called heroic couplet. Why did I mention it here? The very simple relation. That's good one, Babita. Nice, Elsie.
सर और ब्लैंक वर्सेस तो उसमें रेप ऑफ लक में रेप ऑफ लक में ब्लैंक
No. We are coming. You missing it. Well, so heroic couplet is also couplet means 2 lines. Okay. Introduced by Chaucer in a work, Legend of Good Women. But it is different from blank verse. Just one difference is there.
Rhyming.
Rhyming. This heroic couplet is also a combination of iambic pentameter. It is also iambic pentameter. Okay? But it is a rhymed iambic pentameter. Rhymed couplet. So the one difference between heroic couplet and blank verse is that heroic couplet is rhymed and blank verse is unrhymed. Okay? That's good one, Deepa and I'll sing. Okay. Now, this blank verse was introduced by Sir. Actually, he is generally named with this title, Earl of Surrey. Okay. So Earl of Surrey introduced blank verse. Earl of Surrey. He introduced blank verse. He was working on the Aeneid by Virgil. Actually, Virgil has written a beautiful epic, the Aeneid, and it inspired almost, I can say, the predecessors of English poetry. No doubt, Geoffrey Chaucer started it, and many other poets followed writing poetry, how to write that poetry. But when we come to Reformation in England, that's almost pre-Elizabethan time. There we find the two great poets. One, Sir Thomas Wyatt, and the next, Earl of Surrey. The two great poets, Sir Thomas Wyatt and Earl of Surrey, contributed a lot in the development of English poetry, especially realizing to be professional poet. Wyatt brought sonnet in England, and Earl of Surrey introduced some changes in sonnet. One more function that Earl of Surrey did was introduction of blank verse. Actually, he was reading Aeneid, that was a work of Virgil, a great Roman poet, and wanted to translate it. In fact, a kind of paraphrase that he wanted to make. So, in that effort, when he wanted to paraphrase it, he introduced this new form of writing. So, at that moment, Earl of Surrey was reading, in fact, book 2nd and 4th of Aeneid, and during that he introduced this new form. So who introduced blank verse? Earl of Surrey. And what is blank verse? Iambic pentameter line without rhyme. Okay, that's good. This had been easier because one difficulty was removed. As a poet, you needed to have a rhymed pattern, and then go to sound pattern, everything. But one freedom the writers found, the poets found, and that was freedom from rhyming pattern. Now it is not restricted. So in 1540, when he translated these two books almost while reading 2nd and 4th, he told the English writers to come, in fact, because many poets has to come, that they can write something even without rhyming. There's no need of rhyming at all. Without rhyming, there can be good poetry. And later on, this blank verse was a great device for the dramatist, especially when the first complete drama in English was written, as a tragedy. The two plays you must always remember. The first one is, which is supposed to be the first complete play of English.
Shakespeare.
No, I'm not talking about Shakespeare. I'm asking, which is the first English play as a complete play? Today we see that there should be 5 acts, characters, setting, all these things. So definitely, in beginning, there had been some contribution from the great writers. Like we can say that Canterbury is the first complete piece of poem. Okay? So in the same way, even in drama, we could have found. So which work from, I give you another guess, Elizabethan time. Even some years ago, pre-Elizabethan time, we have as the first play in England. I think I have discussed it. When I was teaching, I think Shakespeare, I told, because I cannot teach you Shakespeare without telling these things. Anybody? Okay. It's a Ralph Roister Doister. So the first comedy in English, and definitely it came before Gorboduc, so it becomes the first play of England as well, first comedy of England as well. That's good one, Deepa. But Ralph Roister Doister came before Gorboduc. So Ralph Roister Doister finds 2 titles. The first one is, it is the first English comedy, and the second, first English play as well. It's a complete play, the 2 things. When we come to Gorboduc, we find that Gorboduc is first English tragedy.
ये राइटर का नाम बताइए।
Sure, coming. So the first English tragedy is Gorboduc. Gorboduc was collaboration. The 2 great writers worked together. Thomas Norton and Thomas Sackville. These 2 great writers worked together and they wrote Gorboduc as the first English tragedy. Thomas Norton and Thomas Sackville. Though the first play, Ralph Roister Doister, was written by Nicholas Udall. Nicholas Udall. Well, why did I mention here these plays? Because the first English tragedy, Gorboduc, also marks the first use of blank words in plays. Since it was not a very rich time of plays, but when Gorboduc was written, in Gorboduc, the play was written in blank verse. So Gorboduc becomes another example related to blank verse. We proceed and we reach to the university wits. On here, tell the name of university wits. Come on, tell the name of university wits. Okay, BL, you tell the name of university wits. Sure, thank you. There are 7 members, very nice. Tell us. Thomas Kidd, And I think Preeti will tell us. Come on.
Christopher Marlowe.
Okay, Christopher Marlowe,
Thomas Nash.
Thomas
Kidd,
Nash,
Thomas Kidd.
Thomas Kidd,
Robert Greene.
Robert Greene,
और जॉर्ज पील
George Peele,
और एक और है
John Lilly, that's good one. One more is missed.
Thomas Nash.
No. Yes, yeah, that's good one. Thomas Lodge. So overall these 7 members, Christopher Marlowe, Thomas Nash, Thomas Kidd, Thomas Lodge, Robert Greene, John Lilly, George Peele. These are the 7 scholars. They found a group, and that was termed by George Sainsbury to be university wits. Definitely, these university wits, especially Christopher Marlowe, used a blank verse in his place with such power of mastership, of craftsmanship, that somewhere Ben Jonson called these lines in blank verse, as mighty lines. So blank verse got popularity during the era of university wits. Then we moved to William Shakespeare, and William Shakespeare mastered in it. It continued with its popularity. We meet John Milton and read his Paradise Lost, Paradise Regained. We find that he has also used blank verse in his poetry. We move to Romantic era and study William Wordsworth, and find once again that he also used this blank verse. But there had been a kind of different stanza form that was called verse paragraph. This verse paragraph is written in blank verse. Verse paragraph is written in blank verse. And now, why do we call it verse paragraph? Because it follows the pattern of verse. And we know what is pattern of verse? Here. Iambic pentameter. So it will be, yes, sure, internally. There will be the use of iambic pentameter lines, but there will be no limitation of lines in a stanza. In poetry we use a stanza, like 2 lines stanza, 3 lines stanza, 4 lines stanza, 5 lines stanza, 6 lines, etc. But when we come to, that's good one, Deepa. When we come to verse paragraph, we find that there is no limitation of lines. I try to make you understand. Paragraph is especially related to prose. Okay? Because when we are talking about poetry, we use a stanza, and when we are talking about prose, we say it's a paragraph. Paragraph and stanza, these are the 2 words that we use. In paragraph, there is no limit of lines. Sometimes we have read that essayists like Francis Bacon, or even Dr. Samuel Johnson, sometimes Charles Lamb, they have written their essays in 1 paragraph. Means can be 3 pages, 4 pages, but all without ending of that paragraph. Starts and end. This can be another mastership of an essayist. So there is no limit of lines. The same thing happens in poetry. When poet has to explain something in detail, like John Milton did in Paradise Lost, you'll find John Milton has used verse paragraph in his Paradise Lost. When he is explaining Satan, when he is explaining Adam, when he is explaining hell, it was not something to be explained in 2 lines, 3 lines, 4 lines, 5 lines. So he used
26.
number of lines, not only 26, number of lines, sometimes 100 lines, sometimes 50 lines, sometimes 20 lines, all these, whatever variation he wanted to use, he used in Paradise Lost. So, in fact, verse paragraph gives a poet a kind of freedom where poet can use number of lines in verse, means following iambic pentameter pattern in verse. A number of lines he can write to fulfill his purpose. So this had been a kind of tendency among the writers, the great writers. Verse paragraph introduced as a part of blank verse with a number of lines, okay, without any limitation. Number of lines are there. Is that clear? Okay. So that's all for the day. In fact, it's a longer discussion, and we need to understand a lot of things. Need to study as well, because I'm not happy with the kind of preparation you are going through, especially you, BLDR. Okay, sure. So you need to focus on your study more and more. It's not easy. Literary terms, I have already told. I'm teaching you, and I'm trying to make you learn them by heart, making you understand, making you explain them. And the one reason behind it is very simple reason. You cannot learn them if here we stop such pressures and nobody will teach you amateur Abraham. That is another problem. So I'm telling you through it, amateur Abraham, making it easier for you, making you learn things, learn thoughts, learn concept, and giving you a chance to express yourself in your own word. Because literary terms, like I was trying to explain you here, okay, what is blank, what is verse, how this blank verse is related, the same thing I tried to do, because you don't need to always learn them by heart, but you need to understand them as well. The terms that we find, like I was explaining you alienation effect, like I was telling you about affective fallacy, like I was telling you about allusion, like I was telling you about ballad, means you need to understand their meaning through that phrase or through that word. They will explain you everything very easily. Once you explore the meaning of that term, the things become very easy. That's good one, Deepak. So that happens in our life, that happens in our learning. And remember, literary terms are going to be very, very crucial in your examination. All kind of examination, whether it is TGT or PGT or even NET. Many questions this time in NET had been asked from literary terms. So if you are going to work hard over here, it can help you in your NET as well. And this is what my motto is. You don't need to learn it separately. You need to learn it once and for all. Means in one effort, if you are reading, if you are giving time, make it easy. Be friendly with it. Amateur Abraham shouldn't be a kind of nightmare for you. Okay? And the terms, especially terms, because we forget them very soon. And reason is very simple. We just read them, we don't understand them. If we don't understand them, it's very simple, we will forget. Because the facts can be learned, like name of the artist, name of the writer, name of the books. They should be learned because they cannot be understood. Like somebody explains you and you learn. But the terms can be understood. Terms can be explored. Their meaning is clear, everything is clear. Like we were talking about ambiguity. One understands that's not clear, so in that sense he can or she can explain what's the meaning of not clear. So things become easy when we start making them easy. Okay, so work hard. Shuklari, you as well, because it's very, very crucial to learn literary terms. It's going to be easy only when we are trying to give our time. Learn them, and if you find any problem, anything that's creating you problem, you may ask me. I'll be really happy helping you. Okay, thank you.